Hey, glad to see you back for another Story Tim, where I tell my favorite stories from my 50 years here on the planet. This is another news story. One of the things about in Savannah, it was a dangerous area. We would, have a lot of drug sales and stuff like this. Of course, one of my favorite things to do is to be with the SWAT team when they would do a drug bust and stuff like this. They all dress in black and they black masks and run in there and throwing flash bombs and, smoke and grenades and stuff like that. Man, I dig that stuff, because again, every time you shoot something like that really worthwhile, you get an Associated Press for that sort of stuff. And that's kind of things I lived for in those days. So I can remember one time, they were getting ready to do an arrest. And of course, you're following these SWAT guys. The SWAT guys have all this Kevlar on and basically, I'm over there in like a t-shirt, and a little button down kind of a dress shirt that I would wear when I would go and shoot. And I'm like, oh man, so, you would come back and what you would try to do was when you were shooting these things is that you would follow directly behind these guys. So if there was incoming bullets, then hopefully they would take the round and not you. So I can remember we were charging around this side like this, and all of a sudden we hear this bang, 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 and the cops are like, what's going on there, man? And we hear the choo, like the bullets going by you, and fortunately nobody got hurt. And then you come over there and the cops would have this kind of battering ram, and they'd bash down the door, look at, and the guys they'd put them over there and they'd get, all handcuffed up, or, they would take these like zip tie things and handcuff them in like that. And they would, get brought out, one by one and those things, man. And, you're like, why are you doing this stuff, man? Well, we got to make a living, man. We got to make a living. Times are hard. It seemed like always the reasons why they were selling drugs is because the economy was bad and they had to make a living. I guess that's true. But I remember one of the funnest things to do is, when they would throw in these flashbangs, because it would go boom and it'd be real loud and thing like this, and you're like, and all the people around there are like, but it was cool. And the SWAT guys always were big fans of mine because they knew I was going to do them well, make them look good. And but you never could tell when it was going to be a bad situation real quick. I can remember we would go into these things at night. We would hear like there was a shooting and stuff like this. And of course, people, the bad guys at night, that's when they're all out, right? And they don't really want to get their picture on the news. That's putting it mildly, right? So you can imagine I come in there in the middle of this situation by myself, and I have my camera on. Then we would have what we call a bat light, which is this bat belt, bat light. You think of Batman, oh man, but it was like this big heavy batteries that we would put around our waist that you would plug this battery light into, and you can imagine it was just like this, would just shine light over the whole place like that. And it was not unusual. We would come in there and turn that light on, man, and the guys are screaming and throwing stuff at you. You're trying to shoot video, before you get clobbered. It's an unusual thing, but it is true that in a lot of disasters, the guys who get first, that are hurt first, are the news camera people, because they get too close. Trying to get that good shot, and they either the wind will shift. We covering some toxic spill, and the wind will shift, and all of a sudden we're enveloped in these gases, or else the guys see this light on, and what you're going to do, you're going to shoot towards the light, and we're the one wearing the light. So as you see video and stuff when you're watching the news, think about the guy that's doing that stuff and send out a prayer for him, because we were definitely in dangerous situations. And that was another Story Tim.